Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have my, June book haul, and I've got to say this month I went a little bit crazy. I've got more books than I'm going to be reading for a while. I don't know why I do this to myself, but you guys know I've been getting back into reading, and I work at a bookstore. It's kind of hard to not do, but yeah, we've got a lot to get through today. I even just got back from Second and Charles because I hadn't been in several months, and I did get some good deals, and so got a little bag here of some stuff to show off, as well as the stuff that I already had from earlier in the month. So I'm gonna keep it short here at the beginning so we can go ahead and get started. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. And if you guys want to talk about any of these books that I get in this haul, as well as other things, please be sure to join the Discord with the link in the description. And yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show off is something a little bit random, and that is this book here, Curious Tides. Now, the reason why I got this book here, honestly, I know basically nothing about it. It seems to be a YA, like dark academia, fantasy kind of thing. Whether or not I actually read this soon, I doubt it, but I just have it because it's actually an ARC copy. As you guys can see, it doesn't actually come out until October of this year. And I learned earlier in the month that that's one of the perks of working at a bookstore, is you have access to free ARC copies. And so I just chose one and I picked this one up. And yeah, I mean, I know nothing about it. I just picked it up because I think the idea of getting ARC copies is honestly such a privilege. And it's just really cool. So this is my first ARC copy that I picked up. The next two books I picked up are actually like for school. Turns out I have to do some summer reading stuff. So I did have to pick up Don Quixote as well as Night. Two very different books. Don Quixote obviously is the famous windmill knight. If you're familiar with One Piece, everybody knows Don Quixote, Doflamingo. So yeah, haven't read it yet. Gonna have to try and start it, or I don't know if I'm actually gonna end up getting to it this summer, but I'm gonna try, because this is a hefty book here, so I don't know if they really expect me to read this whole thing this summer, but I just don't know. So yeah, that's Don Quixote. And the other thing I did pick up, like I said, was Night. This is like a memoir, Holocaust biography kind of thing. I already read this, finished it, and I did a review on Goodreads. I'm not going to go into it too much because I don't want to come off as offensive on such like a heavy topic, but needless to say, didn't really care for this book much. I'm not going to be super harsh about it, but I mean, the facts are that I did not really care for this book. I had to read it because it was a school assignment, and that's that. It wasn't absolutely terrible, just not my thing. So yeah, that's that book. The next two books are just books I needed to complete, or I'm not actually complete yet, but I needed them to work towards completing a book series that I love, and that is Saxon Tales. So I picked up Warriors of the Storm and The Pagan Lord. So this is book 7 here. This is the one I'm going to be reading next in the Saxon Tales series, and then this one I believe is book 9. So I already have book 8, so it would be like I already have the next few books to read. So I believe now I have 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So yeah, you guys know my thoughts on Saxon Tales. I did a video of it just prior to me creating this channel. I did a video on my original channel talking about Saxon Tales, and once I finish this series, or at some point I'll end up making another Saxon Tales video for this channel. But yeah, I mean, I love it. Bernard Cornwell is a genius, such a great writer. and this is probably one of the greatest historical fiction series ever written. Next up is something that, again, it's a little bit random, but I did go ahead and I picked up Chronicles of the Black Company by Glenn Cook. The Black Company is known as like one of the fathers of grimdark fantasy. I know it's pretty hit or miss with a lot of people, but I wanted to take a shot at it. They had this really cool 3-in-1 book, and it really sucks that they have like one of those permanent stickers on here. It kind of ruins the artwork a little bit, but I just thought it looked just so cool. So yeah, I think the plot is interesting. I know a lot of people, like I said, don't really care for it. Some people really like it. I know Glenn Cook inspired the creation of, what is it called? Malazan, which is a series that I'm not ready for yet at all. But I know this influenced a lot of series. Like I said, it's basically the grandfather of grimdark fantasy, which I am a bit of a fan of. There's still a lot of grimdark I need to read, but just the idea of it I like. And yeah, so this is just really cool looking. Again, a bit random, but I had to pick it up. It's just awesome. The next couple of books here are ones that I'm really looking forward to, and those books are by John Gwynne, who's gotta be one of my new favorite authors. So I picked up Hunger of the Gods, which is kind of a given. I'm currently reading Shadow of the Gods for my community book club. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. It's gotta be the best book I've read this year so far, and might be one of my favorite books of all time now. Not quite finished with it a little over halfway through. We should be finishing it in the next couple of weeks for the book club. But yeah, I mean, I went ahead and picked up the sequel, and as far as I know, we are going to be doing a book club for Hunger of the Gods sometime in August. So if you guys are interested in that, join the Discord and all that, subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be some information about that in the coming weeks. So yeah, that's Hunger of the Gods. Really excited. And if you guys don't know, this Bloodsworn Saga is supposed to be a trilogy. The third book, however, isn't coming out for a little while. It's not coming out until probably 2024, so sometime next year. So I guess to sort of fill that void in my heart, I went ahead and I picked up Malice, which is the first book John Gwynne ever wrote, and is the first book in his Faithful and the Fallen series, which I've heard was really cool. This I've also heard is the weakest book in the series, so yeah, definitely want to give it a read though, because everything I hear about John Gwynne and everything that I have personally experienced from him has just been fantastic. And yeah, I think once I'm through with Bloodsworn and Faithful and the Fallen, there's a high probability that he's going to end up being like a top 3, top 5 author for me. Another author that I'm really excited to get more into is that of Brandon Sanderson. You guys know I also did a review of Tress of the Emerald Sea, which is right there on my shelf. I did that a little while ago on my other channel as well. So I went ahead and I picked up Secret Project 2, that being Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. This just came out, like the, the publisher edition, I guess. So yeah, there's standard edition. I don't know what else to call it, but yeah, I went ahead and picked this up. This is going to be one of the next books I actually do plan to read this next month, and hopefully I actually get around to it and do a review for it. Yeah, I plan on picking up and reading all of the Sanderson secret projects when they come out. This one, I've heard, again, was probably the least interesting of his. It is like a full-on standalone. It has nothing to do with his Cosmere or anything like that. Everything I have heard about it, a lot of people said it was pretty fun. Just wasn't their favorite, or it wasn't the greatest. But I'm excited. I mean, I think it definitely looks really fun, and it's more Sanderson to get into without committing to something super big yet. And speaking of committing to something really big that's Sanderson related, this is my biggest purchase of the month, or probably of the year so far. Well, that's not exactly true. Whatever. As far as books and manga and all that, it's my biggest purchase, and that is I went ahead and I picked up the box set for the Stormlight Archive. Now, this is the hardcover box set, because I didn't want to get the box set of the mass market paperback bricks, and I know that like the big floppy ones are they're not super difficult to find, but I didn't want to go out of my way to do that. I wanted to get this. It's hefty, and it just looks really nice, and it has the first 4 in it. I don't have to worry about trying to track stuff down. It's all right here. And I wanted to read this series before Stormlight 5 does come out. Was it next fall? So this is another series that I do plan on doing a book club for, starting this coming fall. And of course, starting with The Way of Kings here, we also have Words of Radiance, which I know to be the best in this series. So that seems to be the common consensus, as that Words of Radiance is the best in the series. And I know Brandon Sanderson said that this was probably his most fun book to write in the series as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to this one in particular. The third book being Oathbringer right here, and the final book, of course, being Stormlight 4, Rhythm of War. So yeah, Stormlight Archive is just a series that since I started getting back into books and just been a part of like the BookTube and book like Discord and all that stuff, just Stormlight Archive is everything that people have been talking about, and I want in on it. I know my father actually read The Way of Kings years ago, and I remember him telling me about it when I was younger, and I didn't really know what he was talking about until, recently looking back at it. I was like, oh man, like, you read Way of Kings, like, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I want to get into it for myself. I know this is a big commitment, but I'm ready. So I will be starting this hopefully this fall. Now that we have all of that stuff out of the way, let's move into what I got just earlier at 2nd and Charles on my little adventure. So digging into the bag here, the first thing I did get right here is Hyperion by Dan Simmons. This is a sci-fi series, classic sci-fi. I've heard amazing things about this. However, I am very hesitant to get into it because I hear that it's like short stories, and the short story format isn't something that I'm really the biggest fan of, and that's why getting into The Witcher is also kind of a bit to me. I know The Witcher is awesome. I love the show, but getting into those books, because of like the first 2 being short stories collections, I'm just kind of iffy. And the same with this, but finding this for literally like $2.50, I couldn't pass it up. And I mean, it was even less because I get a discount. So, I mean, I couldn't not pick it up and just to try it out at some point. The next 2 books are books 4 and 5 of Connie Goulden's Conqueror series, which follows like Genghis Khan. This is another series that my dad has read to completion, and he loves it. He wants me to read this so badly, and I have the first 3 in the series, and yeah, I managed to find both books. What is it? This is 4 and then book 5 here today, and they're again 2nd Charles. They're used. They were both real cheap, so couldn't pass that up. And now I have all of the Conqueror series by Connie Goulden. And if you couldn't tell, like I said, it's Genghis Khan. This isn't fantasy or sci-fi. This is like a historical fiction series. The next thing I picked up was definitely, again, a bit random, and that is A Fortress in Shadow by Glenn Cook here. This is like a, I don't know if this is like a omnibus kind of deal like the other Glenn Cook book I had. And it wasn't until after I bought it that I realized I messed up. I bought this thinking that it was a Black Company book. This is actually part of a whole nother series called, what is it? The Dread Empire. And I'm not even exactly sure where this book in particular falls in the series. I wasn't really caring too much to begin with because I was like, oh, it's part of Black Company. I'll get to that at some point, but it's a whole nother series. So I kind of done goofed. But, I mean, it's okay. Again, super cheap book, used book. But, yeah, that is that. It does have some awesome artwork. Whoever does the artwork for those Glenn Cook books, you guys know what I mean. It's just fantastic. And, yeah, I love that art style. Just did not mean to get this book exactly. And, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this at the moment. Maybe I'll get the books that come before it, because I don't think that this one is the first in the series. It's kind of difficult for me to try and figure out the order of these books because of how they're compiled in, like, again, I think this is an omnibus. Yeah, I'm just not sure. So, don't know exactly about this one yet. Next up, I did go ahead and I picked up The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. This is a beloved fantasy series. Everybody knows The Wheel of Time. And yeah, originally I wanted to, if I was ever gonna get Wheel of Time, I wanted to get those hardcovers, like those classic looking hardcovers. They're so iconic and they're really nice, but they are pretty expensive. And that's the only thing keeping me, back from reading Wheel of Time. Also, the fact that there's so much other stuff I haven't read. I'm not ready to dive into like a, 14 or 15 book series. However, they have these paperbacks, floppy paperbacks here. They're really nice, actually. They do have part of the cover of like the original covers, even though it does say like the Amazon. It's like a tie-in cover, kinda, I guess. I still think that this print of Wheel of Time is actually really nice, and I don't mind it at all. So, if I end up ever really liking Wheel of Time, I probably will get those nice hardcovers. But I think this is a good starting point, and this was like $5 too. So it's normally like, I don't know, $20, $22 or something like that. So for $5, I couldn't beat it. And yeah, this is gonna be my entry into the Wheel of Time whenever I do get to it. And the final book of this haul, and the final book I got today, was the only fully priced book I got from Second and Charles today, and that would be Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a series that I feel like everybody is talking about right now, and it just sounds really cool. I've heard it be compared to like a Hunger Games Battle Royale kind of deal, but I've also heard it talked about as if it's like a revenge story, which you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, you guys know that I absolutely love revenge stories. They're probably my favorite kind of story out there, and that's definitely what this is. It's a sci-fi, but it's really fast-paced. There's just a lot to it, and it's a trilogy, so it's not that long, and these aren't long books at all. So this is something I definitely want to hop into very soon. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there really is to say about it. It is just the talk of the town right now. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into this. And that is going to do it for this video. That is a lot of books and a lot of reading that needs to get done. And, I say this now, it's kind of crazy that I acknowledge it, but I'm going to end up buying more books in the near future, and I'm not going to read the majority of this for a while, and I already know that I'm going to get more, which is kind of sad, but that's just the collector in me. You know, it's hard to control, and yeah, what you gonna do? I am gonna read all this stuff eventually, though, especially, you know, the Sanderson stuff, Red Rising here, as well as the John Gwynn. Those are definitely priorities for me. So you should expect to see reviews for all that stuff in the coming future. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. And this was quite a bit, but I definitely wanted to show off everything I picked up this month because it was a lot. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I would greatly appreciate it. And also, a special thank you to all of the new members on my Discord server. Over the last few days, we've had an influx in people joining, so I want to say thank you to all of y'all. You guys watching should definitely join that crew if you haven't already. The link is in the description. Come join us, hang out. We would love to have you. And yeah, that's going to be about it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.